Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. My neighbor was cleaning out her father's lake house, and the idea that she's going to be moving, and she had a bunch of stuff, and she's slowly been getting rid of it. One of the things she got rid of is that mower. Not the little green one. That's Oliver's and Max. Now it's Max. Oliver's too big for it. She gave me that tractor just so that it wouldn't be in her yard anymore. Her other tractor quit running. She's going to give that away too. I don't need two. But she called me over and said, I've got this boat propeller. Do you know what it's made out of? And I picked it up and I said, it's made out of aluminum. A lot of boat motors have aluminum propellers on them. They don't rust. They're light. Makes the motor a lot easier to lift up and move. And they work really well. So I said, yeah, it's made out of aluminum. She said, well, what could I do with it? I said, you can take it to the marina and give it to them because I'm sure it fits a boat that somebody has. Looks like a fairly new one. It's brand new. Looks like a fairly new model. And they're usually very expensive. So I said, if you take it to the marina, they'll take it off your hands. Well, then she said, well, what about this box? So I looked at it and it said, Phil Wright Division, Tut Hill Corporation, Fort Wayne, Indiana, hand pump and fittings for model F-152. What's a model F-152? Beats me. So I looked at it in the box and I said, oh, I know what that is. I'll give you 10 seconds. What do you think it is? Just go down in the comments and write down what you think it is. It comes with a tube that gets put into the bottom of it. Then it has this threaded collar that slips on and goes onto this splined hub here. You tighten up that screw. Then you put this hose into this threaded hole. No, I'm not going to do that because big pain in the butt. The hose doesn't have a swivel end on it. It's solid. So you have to turn the whole hose to get it to do anything. You don't want to do that if you're going to just be doing it for a second or two. It also has this little nozzle on the end. Well, this threads onto that hose. Let's see if I can get this off. Can I do that? Doesn't look like it. Take my word for it. That threads onto there. Then, when you pump this handle back and forth, it moves the diaphragm inside of it. And it enlarges the hole on this side. And then, when you move it back, it shrinks the hole on this side. So there's a check valve on the bottom. So when you pull on the handle, it creates suction inside the chamber and pumps whatever's this thing is in, liquid. Doesn't do dry, just liquid things. It has to be fairly thin liquid, can't be heavy liquid. It sucks it up this tube, draws it into that chamber, and then when you push this handle forward, it blocks this check valve off and opens the check valve up here and lets whatever's in that chamber come out that hole. And since this hose is threaded into the hole and the nozzle is threaded onto the end of on the other end of the hose, when you push it forward, whatever it is, whatever liquid it is, flows out that nozzle and goes into places. Handy thing to have. Now, it wouldn't work for doing anything like siphoning a car because this nozzle is a bit big. This pipe here is a bit big. But you could put a hose barb on the end of it, run a hose down into the gas tank and pump out a gas tank with that. It does a pretty good job of it. Because you know what this is? It's called a barrel pump. I have used these things multiple times. Barrel pumps are really nice if you have oil or gasoline, because usually oil and gasoline come in 55-gallon drums if they're big, if you buy large amounts. And I used to work at a place where I would regularly pump out 55 gallons of oil into something. Big punch press, big hydraulic punch press. You'd dump out all the oil, all 10, 15 barrels, and then you'd pump new barrels back into it. And yeah, you spend a lot of time pushing that handle back and forth because it only does like maybe half a pint each time you pump that handle. And they work really nice. They're very handy to have. They're fairly expensive. I have one, not anywhere near as good as this one. What I'm missing is a 55-gallon drum. Now, a 30-gallon drum will work just fine for oil. I mean, most people don't keep much more than, usually nobody keeps any oil around, maybe a quart or two to put in the car. Maybe they'll buy a 5-gallon jug. I bought a 5-gallon jug to put in the back of the Ford tractor. Well, I bought a 6-gallon jug, and the tractor takes 5 gallons, so I still have a gallon left in the jug, and that was many years ago. So when I check the oil in the tractor, if I see it getting low, I'll put some oil in it. It's not gone down a bit since I put the oil in it. Now you can put engine oil into a bucket. You can buy engine oil by 55-gallon drums. You can have car tankers, railroad car tankers full of engine oil if you want it. But most of us, maybe we'll buy a gallon jug at the auto parts store or go to Walmart and get a gallon jug of oil because it's a little cheaper if you buy it by the gallon. I remember driving cars that you had to have a couple of quarts in the back of the truck or in the trunk of the car just because it went through that much oil. You might be able to drive 50 to 100 miles and you got to put a quart of oil in it. It either burned it or leaked it. But that's in my old days when I was driving junkers. Now I drive junkers. Well, not junkers. My cars are rather old, but they're in good shape. They're no longer junkers. They're expensive junkers, which run better. So anyways, thank you, Linda. This is a very nice pump. I appreciate the offer. And let's see. Tut Hill Pump Company, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Fill-Rite Pump. Series 5200. Model, nothing. Didn't have anything stamped on there. And it looks like you can put a lock on that handle. And then, unless somebody's really desperate to get in there, they're not going to pump anything. It's going to be locked up tight. So this is something that's going to go up on the top shelf when I finish the top shelf. I have the beams on it. Now I have to put the boards on it. And I have the boards sitting over there on the ladder. I have enough to do about half of it. And then I have many more boards over here that I can cut up and make shelf boards, and many more boards up there I can cut up and make shelf boards. And I just got a lot of shelf boards. But I still have 2 beams over there that I want to put between those top 2 shelves on that shelf. Just found out something. This phone has a duration limit on the videos that it makes. It'll record up to a certain amount and then it has to stop. But it lets you start over again and make more, so that's not bad. Got 128 gigs of memory, and I've used up some by putting apps and things on it, so I'm sure it doesn't have much, but it's got some. So I'm going to stop here pretty quick. Got to go back in the house. Still Lydia's birthday. Don't want to leave her alone too long. You never know what might happen. If you have any suggestions for new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.